A very warm welcome to IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. I'm Ritwika Gupta. Today the spotlight is on MSMEs. We're telling your story, your journey and more. I'll be covering two different companies in two different sectors. One in the agri-tech industry and the other in the logistics sector. In the first segment, I'll be in conversation with Tauseef Khan, co-founder of agri-tech company Gramophone. And in the second segment, a conversation lined up with Yash Jain, founder and CEO of e-commerce logistics company NimbusPost. I'm now joined live by Tauseef Khan, co-founder Gramophone. Thank you so much, Tauseef, for joining us today.
Thanks, Ritika, for having me on the show here. Thank you.
So I want to kick this off by asking you to walk us through the idea behind Gramophone. What was the problem you were trying to solve that prompted the development of your intelligent farming platform?
So I think it went way back in 2005, having spent like almost 10 years in the sector, working in various like avatars. The larger problem of the ecosystem comes in from the low productivity levels in India. And we believe that intelligent farming system, when we say it means basically providing right kind of crop management solutions to the farmers and end-to-end solutions around procuring products like seeds, crop protection, nutrition in an easy and accessible way. So streamlining this process is something which Gramophone is doing. And we've seen that if this is done in a better way, like globally, if we look at a lot of like other counterparts, typically there is a potential to actually reduce the cost of inputs by 10 to 15% and improve productivity by 30 to 40%, which directly like leads to at least like a 50% improvement in the income of farmers. So that's what we do. And we are doing it at scale so that we can impact the almost like 10 million plus farmers in India.
That's very interesting. So, with over 70% of Indian farmers owning less than 1 hectare of land, how does Gramophone specifically address the needs of small-scale farmers?
See, I think largely speaking, India is overall a small-scale farming as compared to US or European markets. What was not possible probably 10 years, 15 years later is possible today. People have smartphones, so information penetration and usage of new age technologies is much more possible. So largely, if we divide the Indian like farmers, you rightly said that around 68% farmers have actually 1.5 hectares of land, which is approximately 1.2 acres. What that effectively means is that their income from agriculture actually is almost like 30% only. They have to rely on other sources of income. And you can increase it by maybe 10, 15%, but it will still be 30 to 40% of their income. So largely the idea is to basically improve from here by providing access to information. But I think for the very small hold marginal farmers, the larger goal is it's more of a structural like problem where there should be revenue sources for people other than agriculture as well, I would say. So I would put the 30 to 35% of farmers who have probably like 5 acres of land and above as people who are largely dependent on agriculture as source of income. There, I think the impact of what we do is much more than very marginal farmers where most of the times agriculture is just one source of income, which contributes, like I said, 20 to 30% of their overall income actually. So the problem needs to be seen in that like perspective actually.
In a landscape with over 1,000 agri-tech firms in India, tell us what sets Gramophone apart from the competition, and how do you envision maintaining a competitive edge, in this rapidly evolving sector?
See, I think a lot of it is there are a lot of companies working in various like fields. Most of the startups are on the agri output side, post harvest, uh, uh, maybe like providing access to markets to the farmers, processing of commodities, providing avenues for farmers for better like sales. And then there are a lot of startups which are more on the I would say input side of the journey, which is basically anything that goes in growing of a crop. I think largely operational like excellence plus end-to-end platform which solves the problem of the farmer right from procurement of goods, commodities, and then providing right like operational, which is digital plus physical. I believe in India, yes, the movement is digital towards digital, but rural India still like works on touch and feel and physical like connect. So we have created a network which is basically empowering the existing retail ecosystem of agri inputs, and we are giving them all the solutions in terms of management of like a CRM to manage the farmers, better marketing like tools for that, and having a strong data element where from an agriculture knowledge perspective we have digitized the entire, I would say, cropping practices, problems that come on thousands of crops, their plant varieties. So it's a huge metadata like creation, which I think nobody in India has yet done. Which acts as a big, like it took us like 5 to 6 years to create that. And I think that is something which becomes the basic block of building the entire ecosystem around what we are doing. So I would say that there are a lot of like players in this space, but given the entire enormity of a $350 billion output market and almost a $25 billion input business, the number of startups in my sense are less, and the penetration is much less as compared to the space. So I would say in today's day, competition is more from converting and the farmers into usage, and than like another startup doing probably in a similar domain, because everybody is operating in multiple states, and eventually it's creating the entire ecosystem. So differentiation comes more from what you are doing at a basic level while digitizing things, which basically enables you to scale up things easier, and that takes some time. So in my sense, it's vintage is a big like value in agriculture value chain if you're working.
So, the theme for our show this year is Ideas for New India. Tell us, what are some of the big ideas or opportunities do you foresee within India's rapidly growing agri-tech sector, with the market projected to reach $25 billion by 2025?
So I think 2, 3 things which I feel would happen is that people have been solving for financial services in urban India, but in rural India, that has not yet happened in a big way. So I see that is one of the mega trends that would be that similar kind of products and services would be built for farmers or rural, I would say. Then secondly, with this, I think scale up of a lot of platforms which have been there in existence for 5, 10 years will happen in this decade. Last decade was more people figuring out the right, I would say, operational models. So it was more figuring out for the agri-tech industry. This decade would be more for, I would say, expansion and growth, and opportunities would be more around the agri like fintech. Even commerce is not scaled that much. So commerce is something that would basically scale up significantly. And lastly, I think on the commodities or the output side, I believe that the price discovery plus execution of transactions, nobody has yet solved. Even a lot of money has gone in that. Scale up of those things are something that would actually like happen in this space in this decade, I would say.
Well, that was wonderful. Thank you so much for your valuable insights. It was great chatting with you.
Thank you, Ritwika. Thank you.
Now, before slipping into a short break, we are excited to announce the return of Leaders of Tomorrow Awards this year, and nominations are now open. The theme this year is Innovate to Elevate. So if you think you've been pushing boundaries and exploring new horizons, please do apply, nominate yourself or your organization on leadersoftomorrow.co.in. On that note, we'll take a quick break here. Back in just a moment. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. Before proceeding to the next segment, I want to take a moment to tell you about Brand Search, a new initiative by Times Network, an opportunity for startups to be on TV without a TV seat that can help you reach up to 25 crore viewers of Times Network through packages starting at only 1 lakh rupees. For more information, log on to brandsearch.co.in. On that note, let's quickly move on to our next conversation with NimbusPost. I'm now joined live by Yash Jain, founder and CEO of NimbusPost. Hi Yash, good to have you on the show.
Thank you, Ritwika. It's nice to be here. And I would love to share my experience and expertise over the industry and how entire logistics industry is moving out.
So let's start with the conversation from a macro point of view. Give us an overview of the logistics industry in India today, and how have you, as a leading MSME, carved a place for yourself in this sector?
Sure, I would love to share about it. If I talk about the entire logistics ecosystem in India, it's at a good transition, I would say. The way entire tech enablement, advancement, and a lot of policies which are being coming up to smoothen up the entire logistics in India, you could say, it's something that's a great, very good to see, you could say, as an industry owner or as a part of an industry. Basically, there are a lot of things that's been happening, right from tech implementations to, you could say, a lot of infrastructure development, which is leading to reducing the tax of entire supply chain. A lot of projects like PM Gati Shakti and a bigger initiatives, which is leading to, you could say, optimizing overall TAT cost, and a lot on supply chain and logistics side, you could say, which is a very good movement, or which is very good. I see as an advantage, because as and when the logistics TAT and cost get optimized, either it be for enterprise or for MSME, this will give a boost to MSME, small startup, early stage businesses, what I see. And being part of an industry, as an MSME, I see we've been working with a lot of MSMEs, thousands of MSMEs in the industry. And we have seen tech enablement, an entire supply chain, the way it's been shaping up in India, it's getting accessible. Before, if I see a couple of years back, the entire fulfillment or supply chain or imports were tough for somebody to do it. But now the young age companies are stepping in, the way entire policies are being shaping in, the way entire industry has been driving in, it's getting more feasible and more easy for MSME to drive it.
Yash, help us understand, how are you enabling other MSMEs and even large enterprises streamline their end-to-end logistics operations?
Sure. We've been working with, we've been an early stage MSME company, to be fair. And to early stage MSME startup, I would say, we've been working with almost thousands of MSME as of now. And we've worked with all this MSME right from single window solution. So what we believe is our section is more towards e-commerce and somebody who's selling online, basically. So small sellers who could be somebody selling on Instagram, a seller who's been a small merchant who's jump starting his business. That's our main customer audience, or what we focus on. So what we do is we help all this MSME with a single window solution, like one window solution where they get entire supply chain, fulfillment, entire solution at one place, a tech-enabled solution, so they don't need to go to 15 or 50 different vendors, multiple vendors for it. Basically, we're like a one-step marketplace for this businesses and MSME to get anything to everything done for their logistics need, you could say.
Sure. Talk to us about how you're harnessing the power of technology, Yash. How does NimbusPost Tech Solutions help streamline operations for sellers?
Sure. So we, being a tech-first business or tech-first startup, you could say, we leverage a lot of technology. And what we try to do is we try to organize the traditional segments where the technology was not there. So you could say we give a single window tracking solution for all e-commerce business, where they could have an entire end-to-end tracking for their shipments. They could do booking, tracking, everything basically at one place. Not just that, I will tell you, we started with fulfillment. So before, fulfillment was MSME looking to get into fulfillment, they need to own a warehouse, they need to buy a land, they need to set up a fulfillment center, and then they could go for fulfillment. Now it's plug and play. You just come to platform, sign up, inbound your inventory and start using it. So what we're trying to do is with technology, we're trying to get MSME access to bigger things, bigger infrastructure, bigger, you could say, configurations, hardwares, infrastructure, which somebody don't have access to before, and which is the, you could say, objective to, you could say, which is letting MSMEs to grow.
And what role does your company play in facilitating import and export transactions for MSMEs in collaboration with governments of Haryana, Delhi and UP?
We play a good role in exports basically. So you could say we work with a lot of seller base in Delhi. Our major seller base belongs to Delhi, Delhi and NCR basically. And we help a lot of sellers to, you could say, sell globally. So we help them with our entire supply chain of, like, you could say, setting up their stores in the United States or Canada or the major markets where they have their demand. And somebody who have a supply in India and which are the markets where they have demand, we help them with end-to-end fulfillment, right from making their shipments as a console, shipping their shipments, getting them custom clearance, getting the last mile to their end customer in United States or any other country, basically. So we have been working a lot of SMEs and early stage startups on helping them to export, you could say, from this market.
Yash, if you could tell us a bit about the growth trajectory of NimbusPost over the years, in terms of revenue, delivery volume and client base. And also, which industries do your key seller base primarily operate in?
Sure. So we majorly operate into the e-commerce and MSME segment. Somebody who's an early stage startup looking for logistics and supply chain is our audience, basically what we look to tap out. If I talk about the growth trajectory, we have been growing very aggressively. We started late 2019. First year we did around, you could say, 19-20, we did around 25 crores. Then we scaled to 50 crores. Then we scaled to 110 crores. Then we are at almost 350 crore run rate and looking to touch up 500 crore ARR very soon, basically. So we've been growing very aggressively, and I see a good growth in the entire MSME segment. And you could say offline sellers, traditional players, going online, and you could say not just restricting their business to one city or one store, going selling to entire India, selling to entire world, you could say. We've been seeing a good growth and trajectory towards the market.
On that note, tell us what, according to you, are some of the logistics challenges in the booming D2C market, and how are you navigating them? What are some of your strategies for efficient supply chain management?
Sure. See, one of the major challenge in India is like India being a cash on delivery first market. There's a high RTO. We call it return to origin. Let's say you ship 100 orders, out of 100, only 50 or 60 or 70 got delivered and just come back. For an early stage MSME, it's a big pain because they need to pay the freight forward and return and pay for an entire product, what's been going out and going in. The inventory got blocked up and cash flow got blocked up. So we work a lot on how we could improve and how we could help our sellers to reduce entire RTO, because that leads to a better, the better delivery percentage leads to a better business, you could say, or better run rates or better revenues for an MSME, which is something what an MSME or any business looks for. And we do a lot of tech automations, basically on the ground operations, improvement, and a lot of efforts where we're launching a lot of SaaS stack and SaaS products, basically technology tools for this MSME, where like we are helping them to have access to like right from data intelligence, which customers are genuine, which customers are fraud, which customers are like doing the fake orders, which customers are doing what. So we help entire MSME seller with a lot of tech stacks and a lot of solutions to improve their business, reduce their RTO, and increase their business efficiency altogether.
And finally, tell us, what's the vision ahead for NimbusPost? How does NimbusPost plan to achieve its projected 10 times growth by FY24? And what are its expansion and service launch plans in terms of, new geographical markets and offerings?
Sure. We've been growing in domestic market aggressively. So that's one of the core focus and objective what we look for. Apart from domestic market, so as I told you, we've been working a lot with sellers, merchants, on helping Indian businesses to go global, basically. That's the core objective. So we have already started, we started operation in Southeast Asia, Indonesian market. Last year, we started in the UK market. We are working on a couple of other markets, basically, to launch up and scale up. And the core objective or the core goal is like take up Indian D2C businesses to the global scale. That's the focus what we are looking for. And like we are very focused, on this trajectory on like helping a lot of MSMEs and early stage business to have access to the markets which they don't have access to as of now. That's our key focus, and that is something that will drive growth to entire NimbusPost and entire business, basically what I look for.
It was good chatting with you, Yash. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
With that, it's a wrap on this episode of IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. We hope you enjoyed the conversations. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.